Hello, I'm Dr. Gareth Moore, and welcome to my Day 6 solve of this, the Exit the Game Advent Calendar, the Intergalactic Race. Now each day we start by having a look at the storybook to see what's going on today. So it says, foreign languages are so important. The Mermalorean gave you a really helpful tip. You can shorten the racetrack via the planet Amakeko. That's the candy planet, says Claus happily. The perfect place for a little stopover. A short time later, he lands the spaceship and jumps out. You follow him and can hardly believe your eyes. Everything here is made of sweets. Gingerbread rocks, chocolate streams, lollipop trees, it's all there. A soda UFO roars past to harvest fizzy drops from the air. What a sweet izzle. Unsurprisingly, Claus immediately starts eating his way through the undergrowth. Claus, you say disapprovingly. This is supposed to be a quick stop. If we stay here any longer, we won't have gained any advantage. The shortcut will have been wasted. Calm down, says Claus, still munching. I just need a little energy kick, and then I can continue. How much more energy? You've already stuffed yourself with tons of sweets. Yes, but I've not found the right thing yet. The last time I was on Amakeko, I ate some really great nuts. Real power boosters. When I eat those, I'll be bursting with energy. You'll hardly recognise me. Come on, help me find the nuts and I promise we will get going. And then underneath it has a sign with a poem on it. And it also says open door 6, behind which we'll find 4 riddle cards today, F1 to F4. But the poem goes, ice in numbers you have found, so use them if you're able, to cover nuts that lie around, somewhere on the table. If you do as you were bidden, you will find a code once hidden. Yeah, I think from inference there's nothing on the back. Yep, nothing on the back. Okay, so next up we need to open the door. So let's have a closer look at that. I love opening the doors. Right, F4, so that's a good start. Hopefully we have F4, F3, F2 and F1. We do. And I can definitely see there's writing inside the room. Let's look at the cards first. Oh, okay. They are all much for muchness, so I dare say they're different. And I mean, the immediate thought I have is that they look like they are possibly going to be segment displays. So they can be numbers or letters by shading in some bits. Because each day we are looking for a 3-digit code to work out where the next day's door is. But why then do we have 4 of these? If it was going to spell a 3-digit code, I would expect to have 3 of them. And they are different. This one, for example, has got a walnut in the middle. This one has got, well, a peanut and a hazelnut, I think. A hazelnut and a pistachio nut, I think. Well, anyway, they're alien nuts. So, but more importantly, let's have a look now inside the room and see what's going on in there. So there are various sweets on display. There's that UFO beaming up candy, as it put it. But what I think the key stuff is down the bottom. These 3 nuts give you a boost. Don't let them out of sight. There's icy numbers you may use if you can read them right. But wait, don't enter them just yet. There is still a second step. I think the storybook is going to attach below. I think we're going to use these together. So the 3 nuts shown in the door. The walnut, the almond and the pistachio, but it doesn't show the peanut or the hazelnut. So peanut and hazelnut are the odd ones out. Alright, so peanut and hazelnut weren't shown inside the room. But what are we doing with that information? On this one, for example, the ones that weren't in the room were these. So the obvious thing is that we are selecting either those or not those. If we were to select just those, then we would have XX line across the middle, XX line up here. That doesn't look particularly useful. If we were to select those which don't have any of those on, then we would have that. But also it's not a very convincing C. Looks like someone's about to play hangman. And it's not a number. Now if we were to select only those which have all 3 on, then we would have just a left line. So how would that work for the others? If we were to select those that have all 3 nuts on. It just gives us a left line again. Could be 1, 1, seems unlikely. Let's look at the next one. The ones with 3 on, oh no, that's just the top left segment. So we're definitely not just looking at those which have all 3 on. So I think these are going to form numbers because it says, whatever the first phase is described in the room, it does then clearly say, ice in numbers you have found, which suggests we're covering over segments to leave just numbers. To cover nuts that lie around somewhere on the table. Or perhaps it's not that. Perhaps we are finding numbers. Oh, I think this is what we're doing. We're doing the opposite of what I suggested. We are finding the numbers to shade in segments, and then what's left, we will count across all the cards the number of each of the 3 nuts that are shown in the room in that order, because that will give us a 3-digit number as opposed to a 4-digit number. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is find the icing numbers and then re-ice these cakes by crossing out the segments we don't need. So now I understand that. Let's look in the room again. These 3 nuts give you a boost. Don't let them out of sight. As icing numbers you may use if you can read them right. No, not quite clear yet. But wait, don't enter them just yet. There's still a second step. Are we counting the number of those nuts? Maybe. Are there green ones? Are there 3 on that triangle? I do think we see 3, 5. I think there's numbers here. 3, 5, 3. And that's what it means by don't enter them yet. But if we have 4 things and I'm correct about icing them, I still don't quite get it. And there are no other nuts in here other than the ones shown here. As icing numbers you may use. 3, 5, 3. So if I had 3 cards, I would suggest I was icing 3, 5, 3 onto them. But I'm not. Oh, that's card 4 anyway. They're in this order. Oh, so look, the one I looked at first before was actually the 4th one. I've put them in numeric order now. So I have a couple of quandaries going on in my head here, because even if I worked out what I was icing, and the question is, am I doing it in positive or negative? Am I erasing or am I erasing everything else? And I have counts of nuts on those areas of the landscape, but am I paying attention to what type of nut it is, or only the count of the number of nuts? Because there were no walnuts at all, there were only the pistachios and the almonds, as I'm calling them. You would think with these segment displays that we are shading in numbers. So I would shade in a 3 here, and a 5 here, and a 3 here. But what's the 4th digit for? Well, that's obviously a non-starter, so I'm going to ignore the numbers of nuts shown on these things to the side, because I can't see how to make that work. So I think I've complicated it by noticing those on the walls, and I should have just focused on these nuts. So walnut, hazelnut, pistachio. So let's look at the cards again. Walnut, hazelnut, pistachio. I suspect that if I look at these a bit more carefully, something will appear. So first of all, let's get rid of my marks on the last card. Right. Now I look again, I actually see what's going on, I think, or at least I start to, because if I look at just the walnuts on here, it looks like a 2, doesn't it? And if I look at just the walnuts on here, it looks like an E, it's a Z, an E, an R, and an O. So I've got 0 from the walnuts. Okay. And then it was the almond next, I think. So I read just the segments with the almonds on. It's going to be 4, isn't it? F, O, U, R. So we've got 0, 4. And if I read just the segment with the pistachios, it's going to be 9, clearly. Yeah, so we have 0, 4, 9. So that's the first phase of it. But then it told us not to go any further. So what was it said? Icing numbers you have found. Okay, I have found icing numbers. Use them if you're able to cover nuts that lie around somewhere on the table. If you do as you are bidden, you will find the code once hidden. So I'm thinking we cover over 0, 4, 9 somehow. But again, if there were 3 cards, I would shade in 0 and 4 and 9, count the number of nuts that were left, but that can't be it. If you do as you are bidden, you will find the code once hidden. Now when it says somewhere on the table, it makes me think I'm looking for nuts on here, but there aren't. And in this room, it's not the case that I can shade 0 walnuts and 4 of one nut and 9 of another, because there simply aren't enough nuts in the room to do that. And you could then maybe count the number that were left over or something. There aren't enough. And I've just had a quick look on the calendar, and I think we would have seen it on previous days, but as far as I can tell, there are no nuts to colour in, and nothing on the back that's going to help us either. So here's my question. We've used these 4 cards, there's one here apparently as well, we've used these 4 cards to get 0, 4, 9, and are we using them again? You would think so, because the message specifically says to cover nuts that lie around somewhere on the table. Is there some other type of nut we can cover? Obviously you get like bolts and bolt nuts. Is it the case that on the decoding strip there's something we can cover? I should just put 0, 4, 9 in, I think, and see if it works. I don't think it will, because it's pretty clear to us that that's not what the answer is. But we should try it, shouldn't we? So from door 6 here, we would go down upright and down right. And that takes us off the calendar. So it can't be 0, 4, 9. So fine, we've confirmed it's not 0, 4, 9. And these symbols here are, I think, they go right and left. I don't think they have any meaning. Oh, there's nuts on here, look. Oh my goodness, so good that I noticed that. So trying 0, 4, 9 in the middle was actually the right thing to do. Okay, so we need to have the 0 for the walnut I think, presumably over the walnut, because it said to cover them with the numbers. So that's what it means, right? The 0 over the walnut, and then the 4 for the almond. Put that over the almond. I'm sure when I assembled this decoder strip, I must have seen the nuts and thought to myself, oh, well, no one's ever going to forget those now they've seen them. Apparently they do. And then, well, at least I did, 9 over the pistachio. So that's helpful that that's moved, but we'll just put 9 over the pistachio, and then we'll put 4 back over the almond. So we've got, is that 0 still in the right spot? No. So we've got 7, 3, 7, but more importantly, we have these directions. So the question is, do these directions help? So we are here for day 6, and if we go down left, up left, and left, do we have L, circle, hexagon? Ah, we do. We are done. Well, that was actually a very nice puzzle indeed, and that is day 7 located, so we can write that on the calendar. There we go. I was just beginning to think, am I going to have to take a hint today? But no, it worked out in the end, and I'm very pleased, as that was a lovely puzzle, and the secret, it turned out, was to very logically and slowly step through exactly what it said to do, rather than jumping ahead and trying to work it out. Although I must say, I think the nuts on the sides of the room are quite a distraction if you spot them. But then again, I did manage, I think, to logically work out why I couldn't use them. They were never going to give me the right information I needed. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed that. If you solved it yourself, let me know how you got on. But otherwise, maybe check out some of my other advent calendars. But until I see you in one of those videos or tomorrow, take care and goodbye.